Why you must listen. My name is Alex, and for years, a silent battle raged within me. I understood English perfectly when I read books or watched films. The grammar made sense, vocabulary flowed, yet something crucial was missing. A wall, invisible but impenetrable, separated my comprehension from actual conversation. This was my daily, relentless struggle. This profound frustration was a constant companion, echoing the common lament. I understand English, but I can't speak well. It felt like being a brilliant architect who could design magnificent buildings, but never lay a single brick. The gap between passive knowledge and active application yawned wide. I devoured countless resources, chasing the elusive key to fluency. How to improve your English became my online mantra. I practiced listening intently, absorbing accents and intonations. Podcasts, movies, and news channels filled my ears, promising to unlock my dormant speaking ability. Still, silence persisted. My journey began with quiet observation of how people speak English. I noticed their natural rhythm, their conversational shortcuts, their authentic expressions. It was more than just words. It was the dance of interaction, the ebb and flow of genuine human connection, a world I yearned to join. Friends often suggested, "Why you must listen." I knew that advice academically. My listening skills were indeed sharp, almost a superpower. I could follow complex discussions effortlessly, predict responses, and even mentally formulate replies. Yet, when my turn came, my tongue often tied itself in knots. The fear of making mistakes was a heavy cloak, muffling my voice. What if I sounded foolish? What if my accent was strange? This self-imposed pressure created an insurmountable barrier, turning simple greetings into monumental challenges. The words just wouldn't escape my lips. One evening, while reflecting on my stagnant progress, an old article resurfaced. Start talking at home. The idea seemed almost too simple, too obvious. How could speaking to myself, or to inanimate objects, possibly bridge such a significant communication chasm? It felt like a childish game. However, desperation breeds open-mindedness. I decided to try. My first attempts were awkward, whispering English phrases to my plants. I described my day, articulated my thoughts, narrating mundane activities as if performing for an invisible audience. It felt ridiculous, but strangely liberating in its solitude. This private practice became a ritual. I would describe the objects around my room, articulate my grocery list, or even narrate a cooking process in English. The goal wasn't perfection, but simply to vocalize. To hear my own voice forming English words, however imperfectly, was a small victory. Slowly, a tiny crack appeared in the wall. The words, once trapped, began to find a path out. My tongue, initially stiff, started to loosen. The mental barrier wasn't entirely gone, but it felt less formidable, more like a thin veil than a solid brick wall, a promising sign. Then came the next piece of advice: how to talk to people in pairs. This felt like a terrifying leap from my safe, solitary practice. Engaging another human being, with their unpredictable responses and judging eyes, seemed an entirely different beast. My anxiety spiked considerably. A language exchange app offered a solution. I found a partner, a kind woman named Sarah from Canada. Our first video call was a blur of stammering and awkward silences from my end. I wanted to disappear, convinced I was wasting her precious time with my halting efforts. "Sarah, however, was incredibly patient. She encouraged me, corrected gently, and, most importantly, listened. She understood my struggle perfectly, having faced similar challenges learning Spanish. Her empathy was a profound comfort, making the daunting task slightly less intimidating with each passing minute. Our conversation started short, focusing on simple topics, daily routines, hobbies, weather. I consciously applied the advice from Way of Learning English, focusing on communication over grammatical perfection. The aim was to convey meaning, even if it meant stumbling through sentences awkwardly. I learned the invaluable lesson of why you must listen in a practical sense during these sessions. Listening actively wasn't just about comprehension. It was about understanding context, intonation, and picking up natural phrasing that textbooks often missed. Sarah's fluency was a masterclass. Gradually, the how to speak with people puzzle pieces began to fit. The fear of making mistakes didn't vanish entirely, but it receded into the background. Each successful exchange, no matter how small, built a tiny block of confidence within me, piece by painstaking piece. We started role-playing different scenarios, ordering coffee, asking for directions, negotiating prices. These practical applications grounded my learning, transforming abstract vocabulary into useful tools. The theoretical knowledge in my head was finally finding its practical purpose, which was truly exciting. My daily day struggle began to transform into daily day's progress. The joy of forming a coherent sentence without excessive mental acrobatics was exhilarating. The feeling of being understood, of genuinely connecting with another person in English, was incredibly rewarding for my efforts. Sarah also taught me about how people speak English beyond just words. She pointed out subtle cues, body language, and cultural nuances that enriched our conversations. It wasn't just about vocabulary. It was about truly understanding the cultural context of language. The consistent, dedicated practice was paramount. Learn English isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process, a marathon, not a sprint. Every single day, I committed to at least 20 minutes of active speaking practice, either alone or with Sarah. One day, I noticed a significant shift. During a conversation with Sarah, I didn't consciously translate in my head anymore. The English words flowed, not perfectly, but naturally. It was as if a mental bottleneck had finally cleared, releasing the language that was always within me. This breakthrough felt like shedding a heavy burden. The phrase, "I understand English, but I can't speak well," no longer applied to me with the same intensity. My understanding and my speaking ability were finally starting to converge, forming a more complete linguistic picture. I started joining online discussion groups, initially just lurking and reading. But encouraged by my private successes, I cautiously began to type comments, then record short audio messages. Each small step forward built cumulative courage, pushing me beyond my comfort zone deliberately. The advice, "why you must listen," now had a deeper meaning. It wasn't just about understanding others. It was about listening to myself, identifying my own speech patterns, and gently correcting them. Self-awareness became a powerful tool for improvement, a new dimension. I also experimented with different ways of learning English, like shadowing native speakers. I would listen to a short audio clip and then try to mimic it immediately, focusing on intonation and rhythm. This improved my pronunciation immensely, making my speech clearer. The concept of how to talk to people in pairs expanded beyond Sarah. I sought out other language partners, testing my newly found confidence in different conversational settings. Each new interaction offered fresh challenges and opportunities for growth, pushing my boundaries further. My way of learning English became more holistic. It wasn't just about grammar books or vocabulary lists. It was about integrating English into my daily life, making it a living, breathing part of my existence rather than a separate academic subject for study. Even during my daily days struggle moments, when progress felt slow or frustrating, I reminded myself of how far I had come. The occasional slip-ups or forgotten words were no longer catastrophic failures, but merely minor detours on the long road to fluency. I discovered that authentic, how to speak with people, meant embracing imperfection. Native speakers make mistakes too. The goal isn't flawless perfection, but effective communication. This realization liberated me from the crippling fear of sounding anything less than perfect. My understanding of how people speak English evolved from academic observation to practical participation. I started noticing the nuances, the slang, the unwritten rules of conversation that are learned only through active engagement. It was like becoming an insider. The initial fear of start talking at home had transformed into a powerful foundation. That private practice had built the muscle memory and confidence required to then take those nascent skills into real-world interactions with others. It was the crucial first step. Looking back, the journey from "I understand English, but I can't speak well" to confidently conversing was not a sudden leap, but a series of consistent, small steps. Each brave attempt, however faltering, added another brick to my linguistic fortress, strengthening it daily. The importance of why you must listen truly became apparent. Active listening wasn't just for comprehension. It was for learning natural responses, for absorbing the rhythm and flow of conversation. It provided the input necessary for effective output, a continuous loop. My approach to how to improve your English became less about memorization and more about application. I sought opportunities to use the language, not just study it. Every conversation, every spoken word, was a mini lesson in itself, reinforcing knowledge. The realization dawned that learn English is an active verb. It requires doing, speaking, making noise. Passive learning has its place, but without the active component of speaking, true fluency remains an elusive mirage, always just beyond reach. I started attending local English meetups, something I would have never considered before. The idea of mingling with strangers and speaking English filled me with dread initially, but the progress I had made instilled a newfound courage within me. At these meetups, I learned more about how to talk to people in pairs in a dynamic group setting. Different personalities, different accents, and different discussion styles all contributed to a richer learning environment, pushing my adaptability. The supportive community at the meetups provided a safe space to practice. Mistakes were met with understanding smiles, not judgment. This non-threatening environment was crucial for someone like me, who had battled immense self-consciousness for so long. My way of learning English diversified. I started watching English vlogs and trying to rephrase their content in my own words. This active summary practice solidified my vocabulary and helped me articulate complex ideas more concisely and effectively. The constant reevaluation of my daily day's struggle now revealed progress, not just frustration. Each day presented new opportunities to speak, to listen, to learn, and to grow. The challenges were still there, but my perspective had shifted entirely. I found myself naturally engaging in conversations about various topics, from current events to personal anecdotes. The barrier was no longer between my thoughts and my voice. It was simply the normal challenge of expressing complex ideas clearly. This journey truly reinforced how to speak with people is about connection. It's not just a linguistic exercise, but a bridge to understanding cultures, perspectives, and human experiences. Language became a tool for profound personal connection, not just communication. Understanding how people speak English became an intuitive process. I could anticipate conversational turns, infer meanings from context, and even pick up on sarcasm or humor more readily. It was a delightful transition from observer to active participant. The initial small steps of start talking at home had blossomed into a full-fledged speaking habit. I still talk to myself sometimes, just to warm up or to process thoughts, but now it's a choice, not a necessity driven by fear. The nagging feeling of, I understand English, but I can't speak well, finally dissipated. It was replaced by a quiet confidence. I knew there was always more to learn, but the fundamental hurdle had been cleared, paving the way forward. The answer to why you must listen isn't just about comprehension, but about internalization. The more you listen to authentic speech, the more natural and fluent your own speaking becomes, a symbiotic relationship between input and output. My journey taught me that how to improve your English is deeply personal. What works for one person might not work for another. It requires self-awareness, consistent effort, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone repeatedly. The ultimate goal of Learn English isn't just speaking, but truly communicating. It's about expressing your unique voice, sharing your thoughts, and connecting with the world on a deeper level. It's about truly using the language effectively. My story is a testament to the power of perseverance. The frustration was real, the struggle immense, but the eventual breakthrough was incredibly rewarding. Anyone facing similar challenges can overcome them with the right approach and determination. Embrace the process, celebrate small victories, and never stop trying. Your voice deserves to be heard, and English can be the vehicle. The world awaits your unique perspective, so do not let fear silence your valuable thoughts anymore. The key to unlocking fluency often lies in consistent, brave action. Don't wait for perfection. Speak from day one. Every single word uttered is a step forward, building momentum towards your ultimate linguistic goals, one word at a time. Remember that mistakes are not failures, but stepping stones. Each error provides valuable feedback, guiding your path towards greater accuracy and naturalness. Embrace them as learning opportunities, crucial for your ongoing development process. Find your speaking partners, even if it's just one dedicated person. The interaction, the real-time feedback, and the shared journey are invaluable. Learning in pairs fosters encouragement and accountability, making the process far more engaging. Integrate English into your daily life beyond formal study. Listen to music, watch movies, read articles, and think in English. Make it a part of your identity, not just a subject. This holistic approach yields remarkable results over time. So, if you understand English but can't speak well, know that you're not alone. Your struggle is common, but surmountable. Take that first brave step, speak out, and watch your confidence and fluency blossom beyond imagination, changing everything. The transformation from passive understanding to active communication is exhilarating. It opens new doors, creates new connections, and empowers you to express yourself fully. Your voice truly matters, and it's time for it to be heard. My personal journey, filled with initial apprehension and eventual triumph, highlights the profound impact of persistent practice. It truly shows that dedicated effort leads to remarkable, tangible improvements in speaking ability over a relatively short period. I learned that fluency isn't about being perfect, it's about being effective. It's about being understood and understanding others. This realization freed me from the pressure of perfection, allowing genuine communication to flourish naturally. So, why you must listen? Because listening feeds your speaking. How to talk to people in pairs. Through consistent, brave practice. The way of learning English. Holistic and active. Your daily struggle transforms into your daily triumph.